God, this hurts. And you know what the funny thing is? As it probably says in the title of the video, I got maybe a minute into this movie before shutting it off, because that's how much it pissed me off. That's my camera. There we go, that's better. It still hurts. I don't know how people finished this. I don't know what possessed these assholes to sign off on this movie. But good God. And I did see an in-depth review of the entirety of the movie. Well, most of it anyway, because that was somebody else who couldn't even finish it. They got further than I did. They got about 45 minutes into the movie. I got a minute. So I know what happens. And I knew it was going to be crap. But the first minute of the movie made me shut it off. And this is a guy... This is a guy, right here. This guy, right here. This guy. Suffered all the way through Songbird and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Netflix remake. Or sequel, whatever the fuck it was. And I suffered through Moonfall. I got through the 50 Shades movies. I got through the Twilight movies. I got through Manos, The Hand of Fate. I got through both Birdemic movies. I've sat through Gem of the Holograms. I've sat through some of the worst movies ever made. And I said this back when I did my non-review of Cuties, that I couldn't even bring myself to watch that. And turns out I made the right call. I haven't watched it. I'm not going to, ever. And thankfully it seems like the movie's largely being forgotten. And it's probably a good thing that most people are blocking out as a defense mechanism, but... So in Disney's quest to destroy every Fox property they buy, we now have a Cheaper by the Dozen reboot. And the most recent ones with Steve Martin. I always get Martin Sheen, Martin Short, and Steve Martin mixed up. I always get those three kind of like clustered together. The names are kind of hard to remember. Anyway, those ones aren't great movies, but they're fine enough for what they are. And fun fact, the first one was actually directed by Sean Levy, who did Free Guy and The Adam Project, and is going to be doing Deadpool 3. He's actually directed quite a bit. He directed the Night Museum movies, he directed Real Steel, he's directed a lot of stuff. I thought he was just some guy who came out of nowhere with Free Guy. Guess I was wrong. And this poor bastard has an executive producer credit on this piece of crap. So, like I said, I know what happens throughout the movie, even if I didn't watch it myself. So I know how bad the movie is, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to get into why I couldn't even get through this. Because even Tom and Jerry, which was another movie I couldn't finish, I at least got an hour and 15 in. I shut it off during the last 20 minutes. And honestly, I probably could have suffered through the rest of that, but that day I wasn't in the mood to finish it. I was not in the right state of mind to be finishing that. This one, I will never be in the right state of mind to finish, because the first minute is possibly the worst in film history. I know people have made the joke about how the first 3 minutes of a movie derailed the rest of the movie. I saw one that was on The Last Jedi, and even that's unfair. It didn't derail the movie. The rest of the movie did that on its own, but it wasn't the first 3 minutes. The first 3 minutes of the movie were bad, don't get me wrong. You should never start your Star Wars movie off with a Yo Mama joke. And I lost my train of thought. God, this first minute of this movie broke me. That's how bad this is. And, okay, so everybody knows the basic premise of it, and if you don't, look it up. And I'm serious. But, God, okay, for one, they picked some pretty bad actors from what I've seen. I've seen clips. I've seen the trailer. I've seen other reviews. I've seen the poor ass acting. So I'm not going to get into that. Gail Lerner, the guy who directed this, has never directed a film before. And it shows. The lighting, the cinematography, the shot composition, it all looks like a sitcom. I thought this was when this was first announced, I thought it was a show. And apparently I'm not alone. Because the other reviews I saw, like at least one of them also said that they thought it was a show as well. Until they realized it was a movie. And that was quite unfortunate. If this was a show, I wouldn't have bothered. But it's a movie, so I had to suffer through possibly the worst minute in film history. Man. Oh man, oh man, oh man. Maybe later, I might try to finish the rest of it. Unlikely. But, maybe. And if it does, I'll do a full analysis, but I can't do it. And I'll tell you why. The first minute of this, like I've said multiple times now, is some of the worst I've ever seen. Like, even the first minute of every other film I've ever seen, I've never seen a movie that lost me in the first minute. Maybe The Love Guru, but other than that, I have never seen a movie that completely lost me in under 60 seconds. Not including the Disney logo, which takes up about a good 20 seconds, which was probably the majority of what I saw. I saw maybe 30 to 40 seconds of this movie. Didn't laugh at all. The acting, the voiceover acting, because those at the beginning, wasn't funny. The acting wasn't good. And it has some of the worst dialogue I've ever heard. And some of the worst things I've ever heard. Like, pretty much everything I hate is in this movie. Very first shot is of the house, and there's a Black Lives Matter sign in the window. That already lost me, but I was willing to let it go as long as I didn't see it again. Does it show up again? Probably, but I don't care. Because I'm probably not going to finish this. But I was willing to let that go. They start introducing the kids one by one. That's fine. One of the kids dreams of being a social influencer, and then the part that made me shut it off was their two dogs, Barack Obama and Joe Biden. Oh, I'm serious. You think I'm joking about that? No, I'm not. That's what made me shut this off. I saw that and I realized, nope, I can't do it. And I know the social justice liberal bullshit propaganda doesn't stop there. Because I remember during the review that I saw, it depicts a scene of Gabrielle Union's character and the cop. There's like a cop, when they first move into their place, the cop tells them you need to keep the noise levels down after 10 p.m. Or it's like something, kind of like a curfew. It's like, okay, but she responds with, would you have said that to anybody else? One who was white. It's just, I don't even know. I was contemplating not putting this on at all. And honestly, I probably could have saved my sanity a bit. And again, I watched less than 60 seconds of this movie before losing my fucking mind. I almost jumped out my window. It's a first story window. It's not going to do anything. I'm not going to do anything. It's like, the window's like 2 feet above the ground. It goes up to my knees. But still, I was about to jump out my freaking window off the first 30 seconds of this movie. That's how bad this is. And again, I saw the trailer, I've seen other reviews, so I know what happens, and it's just as bad. As you'll recall, there have been movies that have broken me. There have. And I remember 2020, I bring this up most of the time, but in 2020 there was an animated Netflix movie called Animal Crackers the title of my video was Animal Crackers Broke My Sanity. That might have been a bit unfair. I don't know if it actually broke my sanity as much as just broke my brain. Because nowadays, if I were to watch it right now, it'd still suck ass. But compared to what I've seen this year, oh no, no. We're getting so many good movies this year that are coming up. We're getting Doctor Strange, we're getting Thor, we're getting Black Panther. Man, from what I'm hearing with Lightyear, they're adding some extra stuff that they had originally cut out, and it's like, because they're trying to push their liberal SJW agenda, and now I'm no longer excited for that movie. Way to kill it, Disney. But yeah, we're getting 3 new MCU films, which are the only ones that don't have those shit agendas thrown in there, with maybe the exception of Captain Marvel, but even still, it wasn't as prominent. And, God, I can't even think straight. We're getting Shazam 2. God, I hope that's good. I hope DC gets themselves out of their slump. And the other DC movies don't look any good, so we're getting a couple of animated ones that Green Lantern 1 and Battle of the Super Sons, and that could be cool. Jurassic World 3 looks good, surprisingly, because I didn't like the first two that much. Just... Disney just cannot stop destroying Fox properties. I feel so freaking bad for 20th Century Fox, or 20th Century Studios now. I refuse to call them that. They're Fox. I feel so bad for 20th Century Fox. Yeah, their latest, the one that made them, basically what made them sell themselves to Disney was the failings of the recent X-Men movies, being Dark Phoenix, and then the failure of New Mutants kind of sealed the deal. But compare Disney's recent remakes and sequels and stuff to what Fox had made. Home Sweet Home Alone, I'm not a huge fan of the original Home Alone. I'm not. I think it's dumb. But it's a masterpiece compared to this. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, the first 3 are so good. 4th one sucks, but we all expected that. And then the remake was terrible. And I don't think Roger Rules will be any better. And now, this. 1 second. Let's see. Yes, I have all my movies written down. The movies I'm going to see written down. Oh yeah, Across the Spider-Verse. That's going to be awesome. But I digress. What else? Other Fox properties. Oh yeah, the Ice Age one. That was bad. It was probably the worst of the Ice Age movies. Night at the Museum, a sequel to that. Why? Just... that might have been on the event. But then Disney, we're also getting Disney Plus stuff. We're also getting Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, which looks atrocious. Hocus Pocus 2 for some reason. Enchanted 2 for some reason. Disenchanted for some reason. Who asked for this? I sure as hell didn't. Peter Pan and Wendy, Pinocchio. It's like, who asked for these remakes? If you're gonna make a remake, make something off of Black Cauldron or Atlantis. Something you can do. One that isn't a classic that people love. Pick one of the crappier ones. Just... This is the last straw. It is. This is the last straw. Unless it's Marvel, I have no faith in Disney movies anymore. And that pains me to say. Because, once again, what movies has Disney put out this year so far? Ice Age, which sucked. Turning Red, which was, again, SJW agenda bullshit, which is why I didn't like it. And then there's this poor excuse for a movie. Honestly, I wish this had been a show, because then I wouldn't have bothered. I wouldn't have even put it on at all. Does it bother anybody else? It has to. That Disney's more focused on pushing an agenda than they are making a good film. Disney used to know how to make good films. They don't anymore. Either that or they don't care. They're too busy pushing an agenda to make good films. And the only ones that don't is Marvel. And why? Because Kevin Feige knows better. And again, the only one that even came close was Captain Marvel, but at least that was more subdued, and at least the movie was at least average. This, and at least the first minute didn't make me shut the movie off. I saw Captain Marvel in theaters, and I've seen it several times since. And I don't regret watching it. This, I regret watching the first minute. I wanted to, if my phone wasn't already cracked, I might have, no, I wasn't going to check my phone. That's a bad idea. But I probably would have, tossed it onto my pillow or something, because right on my bunk, just looked down. But I restrained myself because it's already damaged, and I don't need to break it again. But I'm going to throw something. I don't know what, and I don't know where it's going to end up. You know what? I feel better. Those were my workout shoes. Do I feel better? No, but... This isn't even a review at this point. This is just you guys watching me suffer for 16 and a half minutes. I know I only watched a minute of the movie, but I could have given it a full review of what I know happens in the movie. But what's the point? And the composer for this was John Pisano. This poor bastard needs to get some better work. He did the Spider-Man games and the Maze Runner movies. This poor bastard needs to get some better work. Just thought I'd bring that up, because he's probably suffering as much as I am, knowing his name is attached to this. I can't. She brother doesn't give an F. There was no point to scoring this because I didn't actually watch it all the way through. I watched a minute of it. But I know enough about it to know he gets an F. And that first minute, if I could give a Z minus, I would. This is the worst movie of the year. It is. It counts. I'm counting it. It's the worst. It somehow beat Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And it beat Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Moonfall. How? I didn't think anything was going to beat Moonfall, and then Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out of nowhere. And then I didn't think anything was going to beat that. And then this comes out of nowhere. I'm done. So, thank y'all so much for watching and indulging my rant. And now I can't freaking wait for more BS on Friday.